So you want to write a game in Python. You're going to use Pygame, but how do you structure your file? How do you get key input? Let's find out. So what I've got here is the Pacman program we wrote in a previous video. What I've just done is I've moved the sprite code of Pacman into a separate import, so we can just import that with one line there. And then I've modified this so it's no longer a full screen, we're opening it in a window, which is interesting in itself. So let's just run this program. Run. And there it's opened up a window, it's got a close box there and the little Pacman. Let's do that one more time. If I click on that close, it doesn't do anything. That's because we haven't told Pygame about how to respond to the close event. So what we've just got is this loop which is going to go until it gets to 500. No ifs, no buts. That's what it's going to do. So what we need to do is put in an event loop. So what we're going to do is have a while loop here. We're going to say while not finished. And then we're going to set finished equals false. So now this loop is going to run forever, rather than just doing that 500 steps. Now in your game, that's kind of what you want to do. You want to keep running until you tell it to stop running. So let's just run that one. There we've got our Pacman. And first of all, you'll notice that the window, yeah, it does move. It was not, while, yeah, so my Windows is saying it's not responding. So there is a problem. And Windows is going crazy over this, says close the program. Yeah, we've created a big problem doing that. So what we need to do is detect that quit event. That's the first thing, so that when we click on the cross, it actually closes the program nicely. The other thing is we want to stop the operating system, in this case Windows, from freaking out. And the way to do that is constantly poll the events queue, and Pygame will make sure that everything is working nicely within the OS, and you won't get this sort of problem. So let's have a look what we need to do. So we're going to leave all this as the main part of the program, doing all its things. Just leave that as it is within that loop. But we need to poll the events queue. So what we do is we do for event in pygame.event.get, and that will tell Pygame that you're, tell the operating system you're still alive, and what we're going to do is respond to a specific event. So when it does this, it goes through all the events that have occurred since the last time it ran this line of code, and gives you a collection, and we're going to iterate over that. So each time we have one, we inspect it. Is the event type equal to Pygame quit? If it is, then just raise system exit, which will quit the program. That's a fairly short way of quitting the program, raising that system exit. So let's try that now. Let's see what happens. So it draws the graphic as before, but the window just stays there. But first of all, Windows hasn't freaked out about the fact that this game is seemingly doing nothing, because it's constantly polling. So that's good. Now let's see if the close button works, and there we go, it did work. So when I click that close button, it triggers that event, we detect it, we raise system exit, and the program finishes. So how about, what if I want to quit the program by pressing the escape key? So we're going to have a first look at how to use keys in Pygame. So this is a different type of event. The event type is called key down. So if event.type is Pygame, and we're going to, and you can see the auto completion appearing there in PyCharm. It's showing us here we have escape and all the different keys that are possible on the keyboard are all in here. as constants. Now it happens to be the one that we want is right at the top. We want escape. So if, sorry, made a mistake there. What we need to do is key down. So that's the event's type. And the actual key is the escape one. So we almost got that one wrong. Pygame. And now we have the escape. So we want both those conditions to be true. And then we're going to do finished equals true. So we're going to quit the game in a slightly different way. So with the quit one, we want to just no question about it. We want to straight away go for the exit, raise a system exit exception. With something like the key press, as it happens, this is not going to make much difference. We're going to run to the end of the program, going to get to the top of here while not finished, or exit that loop and go down. But we might have some cleanup code we want to do here. This is just showing the two different ways depending on what you're going to do. Now, one other thing I would like is to not have this structure. It's good to have an elif here, because what you are probably going to want to do is capture all kinds of different events in this event loop. And these are just two of them. Right, so let's see what happens. So we run our program, it does the animation, the window's working nicely, it's doing what it should be doing. And we press escape and it quits straight away. So that one more time. So doing that, press escape, it runs through that part of the code. So now we're starting to build up what the structure of what these Pygame programs will typically look like. Now there's one more factor here that I want to talk about. So we've got a bit of code here which is running Pygame init, and then we define some constants, we're defining a function, and then we're setting things up, and then we're running our event loop. Now it's actually pretty bad practice to have this sort of stuff at the top level. Let's bring this down to here. So this is where we start the program. And these definitions and constants are all done at the top. That's great. But this is still at the global scope. Now what I would like to do is put all that in a function. So let's define a function. Let's just call it main. And put all of that in the main function. So now we are running code at the global scope. And then what we want to do though is we want to call main, but this is a good thing to do is we're going to find out what the name of the program we're running is. I don't want to go too much into how this works. This is the pattern that you should use. So essentially if you import this file, it will not run main, but if you directly run it, then it will go ahead and run this function. There we go. So it will be, that should be exactly the same. It operates exactly the same, but it's just slightly better structure there. Everything's within a function, except for this one here, and that's got a special if statement around it saying only if we are the main program are we going to actually do all this stuff. So that brings us to the end of how to structure a Pygame program. So have everything in functions as much as you possibly can, and have an event loop. Always check for the quit event, or you're going to cause all kinds of problems. And we've also looked at how we can detect key presses, and there's all sorts of things you can do with that. And of course, it's an essential part of any game which is controlled by the keyboard.